So from one trend to another, let's discover the future of growing our food with the one and only Frank Ferragini.
It's very cool to talk about food all the time because I like to eat it, but when it comes to growing food, there is so much science, there's so much innovation happening, because apparently there is a mandate to make much, much more food than we have right now.
We need to. So if you think about world global population, it's growing at such a rate that by 2015 we need to double our food production.
Yeah.
And what's happening as the population's growing, we're taking away many areas where we farm. So a lot of this, what happens at the end is just urban cities that are developed. Well, there's many ways that you can grow, and this is a trend that's happening. You know, you can see that right now even millennials are really getting into it, and what I call plant parenthood. They're taking their small spaces and trying to figure out ways that they can maximize that space to grow. As well, if you look at Elon Musk. Elon Musk is shooting things out into outer space. Well, he's doing that. His brother, Kimball, is developing vertical farms in cities. And shipping containers.
Oh, I love this idea. We've got some pictures of what's been happening when it comes to growing food. If all of our land and our space is being taken up by urban centers, you've got to find a way to do it, and shipping containers is one of the ways that it's being done. The cool thing about a container is it can be anywhere.
It can be.
You know, you can have farming happening in an urban center, and you can make it sustainable and start growing food in different places.
Yeah, you could grow it right at the back of a restaurant. You could grow it in Alaska or in Nunavut. You can grow it in these cold areas where they really had to pay a lot for produce. And while this innovation is happening, what they're doing is taking that same technology and putting it into smaller packages that you can do at your own home. So if you think about one that we've showed before, which is the Aero Garden. This one here is just a really great tabletop garden that's hydroponic gardening. Now, do you know what hydroponic gardening is?
It means it's grown with water indoors.
Yeah, so if we take a look, and we can probably just take the top right off that. Is what you have there is just water. Then also what you have in there is you have an intake filter that's going to be popping air in there at the same time. And what hydroponic means in Latin is working water. So a lot of times people say, well, how can that be? Because a lot of times we talk about when things are overwatered, that they kind of get root rot.
That's true.
Well, by pumping in air into the system and putting it to the roots itself, then what you're doing is you're actually, just gotta get that guy. It's kind of hard from the side. What you're doing is popping in that air, and you're allowing those roots to breathe through the air itself. These are the little seed pods that go in, and what's neat about this light is this light will raise up during the time. The whole thing about this is it's pretty small, and we know that plants get pretty big. So from this, what happened is they devised this, and this is what's called Root Farm. And so what's really cool about Root Farm, and this is the lighting system, there's the seed tray that starts. You can start them like this, then this light can be hung later. I want you to feel the top of that light as well. Feel much heat?
Nope.
No, because it's LED.
Yeah, so you'd I mean, a little bit, but that's not hot, hot, hot at all.
So before, when you were doing lighting in greenhouses and vertical spaces, the type of bulbs you were using were such energy consumers, and as well, they would get so hot that you needed to cool. You needed to have air conditioning. But now with these LED lights, they run cool, they run very efficient, so we can hang it. And you can see right on here, we have Boston lettuce, hydroponically grown, that can be grown in your home, or can even be grown outdoors.
Wow.
So growing outside, we have natural light, and that really helps out.
You also have raccoons.
Yeah, you do.
Maybe grow it inside.
Yeah, but 365 days a year inside with this light, we can grow. The neat thing about Root Farm too is you can see there's your little
That's
nice
huge
look
too.
At that, eh? Look at the size of that root.
That's amazing.
Right? Isn't that amazing? That's Boston lettuce. Feel the weight.
That is incredible.
Isn't that incredible?
So, I mean, you could literally, you can feed your family. And one thing that we hear all the time is that when it comes to real food that is healthy, it is expensive. So if there's a way for you to take on some of that growing power in your own home, we're supposed to be eating our greens. I mean, if you can grow your own, that's pretty incredible.
It is super incredible.
Is there a lot of water in there?
Well, there will be a lot, but the neat thing that's about this is the little thing that's going to hydrate, like basically put the air into the water to help you out. But what's neat about this is you see that I transition this over, and I'll put this over here. All of a sudden what I can do is now I can put one big plant in here.
Oh, I see.
So you can either grow 4 smaller plants or 1 big plant, and tomato plants can get quite tall. You can grow peppers indoors. You can grow all this wide range of food that people can grow and just consume. And the best thing that I love about this, and I talk about this all the time, as soon as you teach a kid to grow food and they actually see where the food comes from, they actually pick that lettuce leaf off the side.
And they eat it. Yes.
They eat it, all of a sudden they love vegetables,
Yeah.
but as well they value food. I find right now that people don't value food. They just take it for granted.
You know what? They don't understand that food actually doesn't just come from the grocery store. So if you don't have that process where you're explaining food came from the ground, it came from soil, there was a farmer involved, you know, it's hard to figure out the steps in between. We're so far from the source of our food.
Yeah.
This feels like a bouquet.
It does.
Doesn't it?
A couple things. I give these tomatoes. You give me.
I accept.
There you go.
What do you say at the altar again? I do.
I do.
That's I accept.
A couple things though, when you're growing in water, you got to watch your pH, and it's really easy to learn. This one here actually tells you when you need to alter your pH.
Okay.
You got to put nutrient in, which is food that goes in.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people say water versus soil. What tastes better?
What does taste
There's
better?
a lot of feelings that things taste better when they're grown in soil because of the minerals that you find in the soil.
Yeah.
But water's a cleaner way to grow, so you won't have insects and things like that indoors.
Okay.
So you got to watch those few things. It takes a little bit of time to get the groove, like the gardening groove.
Yeah.
But once you get the groove down, you're going to have great edibles.
Now, you always suggest start with something small, like these are sprouts. And I mean, what's great about these is if your kids are growing them, they're going to see like it's instant gratification, right?
Yeah.
This grows sprouts in 4 to 8 days.
4 to 8 days.
That's
and
pretty amazing.
Kids get excited. I love introducing this to classrooms.
Yes.
Because it's very small. And the nice thing about this, if you look at the color, it fits on your kitchen.
Yeah.
Easy to plug in. It actually tells you when it needs water. It'll actually put a beep off. It's pretty much like, hey, idiot, come give me water. That
He's
kind of
saying
thing.
that I can actually use this and grow stuff.
No, I'm not saying that at all. Never would I
He
say
knows me
something
very
like that.
well.
Yeah.
Frankie, thank you.